Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the Engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
Hey, this is KC.
And I'm Tyler.
And you're listening to
The Element Podcast.
What's happening, all my woods people? The Whitetail Weatherman here with you today. I use my eyes when I try to talk formally, you know, like when I'm just talking with you, it's I'm like, I'm just going to some whitetails.
Yeah, I know it.
But we're going to visit with a couple of southern dudes, by the way, today about some turkey hunting.
We are.
We've had Steven Spurlock on the podcast. And so him and one of his buddies that does the Chasing 49 thing.
Key Thought.
Yeah, we're going to have them on. So looking forward to that. But in the meantime, we've been sitting here chatting in the rain because that's what it does every day in East Texas this time of year. And we've been scouting a little bit. We've been thinking a little bit. We've been thinking about the application processes.
Yeah. First thing, our plans for the day changed because of the weather pretty much.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to decide when we're going to go turkey hunting. We're going to get to.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the world doesn't lock down, which I don't think it's going to. In fact, Greg Abbott, our prestigious governor, said that hunting and fishing is an essential activity right now. So we in the clear, y'all. We in the clear.
Texas.
Y'all be like us. So not really. Everything's cool. But anyways, we were going to go hunt this weekend, but there's a Toad Daddy cold front rolling through. It's going to be the exact same opening day as it was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was pretty good for us, but...
Yeah, well, the morning was tough.
Is it going to be below freezing?
No.
Oh.
No, we're not going to get that. That was actually the Sunday last year. That was the frosty day, and it's not going to get that cold. It's going to get down to like 44 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
it's supposed to be like 56 is a high tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like in about an hour right now, it's going to have a cold front. This is Friday. And it's going to drop into the 50s by like 3 o'clock.
Dadgummit.
I know my shorts are going to get dated real quick.
Dude,
but
I've had trouble with the shorts this year so far.
I see you wearing your dad socks to make up for the shortage.
I can't make them. I've tried to make them look cool, and they don't.
That's all right.
Like, you know, if these were black, by the way, y'all can't see this, but these are gray socks. Mm-hmm. They're tall, like, what are these, crew? What do you call them, crew or just tube?
I don't know
like
what
pretty
you call
tall. Anyway, they're gray. And if they're black, I look like an athlete. If they're gray, you cannot look any other thing than white boy dad. You know what I mean? Like, that is what you are, that's what you are too.
I know. I wear below the ankle socks.
Yeah.
I'm rocking the 2000s.
Yeah.
I know.
And you were singing this when you showed up earlier, but you were singing Lion King, Just Can't Wait to Be King.
That's right.
And then you said it was king-sized. Was it actually, right?
No, I said, what I say? I just gain weight.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. It's not can't wait. It's gain weight.
Yeah. So I'm sorry I added on to your song there.
No, that was good.
King size, but
to be king size.
You pretty much can't get your morning workout schedule is pretty messed up right now.
I actually had a good workout today.
Did you?
Yeah, I called my mom in for assistance, and she came.
I thought you were going to say for training.
No, and she like kind of took care of the baby in the morning. So I got to go out, and I was like, okay, I got to go meet Tyler. I'm going to do a 30-minute workout because I'm pretty bad about dragging it out. Mm-hmm. And so I got after it and did pretty good. Shoulder complex, bench, chest stuff, a bunch of kettlebells, stuff like that. So
I ran a long ways
I could
today.
not talk myself into running this morning. I needed to so bad.
I started out real slow because I actually did sprints, I'm talking like 95%.
What's wrong with you?
I ran I did run the straights, walk the curves, and dude, I whooped myself. And so I've been sore for like 2 days now. And so I was like, I got to get some of this lactic acid out or get just loosened up. Because then yesterday, I woke up, came out here, of course I had my clothes on, and I look and I hear something. I've been leaving my door open. I hear something out in the woods, and there's like a giant sounder of hogs right over here. And so they're like heading for the road, and they're going to cross over away from my property. So I'm like, straight up Forrest Gump, take off down my driveway around the corner. I'm cooking, dude. Like, I'm getting it. And I get right in the middle of that sounder out in the road over here, and they started freaking out, dude. They were like,
dang.
Just going crazy. And then all these little babies, I could have easily picked one up.
Why didn't you do it?
Well, there were sows everywhere, and I couldn't see them very good.
Don't be scared. Just throw the baby at the sow whenever things get crazy.
It ain't worth it, man. Like I said, I'm a dad, if one of them things jumps up and gets my
what
femoral.
What ain't worth it is whenever you're cold and then you take off on a dead sprint after pigs. That's when the hammies go to tweaking.
What I was about to say is on the walk back, I was like, ooh, man, I am very close to a pulled hamstring right now. And so this morning I got up and I was like, I got to run. So I ran 2 miles basically, which is 3 times around. And
it's pretty good.
The first lap was
short.
short.
The furthest you've ever ran.
That's just, I've never done more than that.
Guy.
No, so I ran real slow the first one, and then I warmed up, and I kind of cooked the last 2 pretty good.
Ooh.
But I wasn't like getting dizzy or nothing like I have before. But
it's good.
Yeah.
Way to go. We're getting ready for some westerny hunts.
Westerny ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually putting in for a hunt that I've got some points for that I think I'm going to draw this year. So I'm excited about that, and we'll divulge more of that information after it shuts down.
Yeah.
Then you can't draw it anymore.
That's right. So, I might have the points for it, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and just concede to being cameraman caller.
I literally can't hunt elk without you. Because I'm pretty much just spot and stalk at that point.
Yeah, which is not a bad way to be, honestly. But it's more fun to call them, I think. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. How cool. I've been thinking about it a little bit. Like, man, there was some cool stuff that happened last year, even though obviously we came away a little bit disappointed, but it's crazy cool.
Think about how cool that is, but take 150 inches off of the antler, and then now we're talking.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Actually, it's kind of nice when it's that way because it's like, depending on what state you go to, it's kind of like, it was just a rag though. Whenever you mess something up, when you mess up a 360 plus, it's like, where's my pocket knife?
Yeah.
I gotta do some slitting right now.
It's just a 6x6 with. Oh wait, he's got a drop down on one side.
Oh, what is that back there? Oh my, yeah, exactly. But there's that, and there's some other hunts too that we're going to be going on that are pretty physically taxing, and quite honestly, the way we do whitetail is not sit around and talk about tree stand snacks very much. Although Pop-Tarts are in the conversation quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
but
on the ground, Pop-Tarts are in the conversation. You know what I mean? It ain't just a tree stand snack.
Oh, yeah.
A Pop-Tart is a snack. It's a breakfast snack. Like, that is the deer hunting breakfast snack. So
breakfast.
Hey, by the way, you were talking about Tiger King the other day, and I didn't have a clue what you're talking about, which shows my disconnect from society. But I looked into it, as in Wikipedia, and realized that this Joe Exotic guy that I think Anthony Warren, who's been on the podcast a few times, we figured this out on the phone together the other day. I thought it was when I was touring with my band that we picked this up, but we were in Oklahoma, I think southern Oklahoma, and I guess I was with Anthony because we were talking about this just a couple days ago, and we stopped in a convenience store, and there were Joe Exotic for President stickers in the convenience store, and we picked them up, and I may have one in storage right now. This is going to be from like 2015 probably. So it's, I was in the know 5 years ago. Now I don't really care about it. And I talked to my sister about it, and she's like, you don't need to watch it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I've heard it's kind of rough.
Freaking weird, man.
Yeah.
Is what she was just like, it's weird stuff. And there's like a lot of just debauchery and crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
I was like, I probably won't waste my time.
Yeah.
So,
But we're going to trade that sticker or whatever you have for some toilet paper and gas money when it comes hunting season.
yeah. If I can actually get a house to move into by then.
Oh, you can, and you will.
You think?
We're about to look at a house plan here in a second.
Oh. Did my wife set this up with you?
We talked about it last night.
Okay.
Why, is she going somewhere?
Well, earlier she was like, is Casey coming to look at the house plan? Because when I told her you were coming over, and I was like, no, he's coming to a podcast. What are you talking about? I was like,
She
no.
gonna be mad at me.
And she was like, she, of course, didn't communicate the fact that y'all had talked about it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's the plan today. So, what was I going to talk about? Oh, I don't know. So, we've been scouting.
Oh, yeah, scouting.
Scouting.
Yes.
That's what we're going to talk about. Okay. I'm going to let y'all in on one of the scouting secrets of the element.
Oh,
okay? Tyler's mad at me.
Listen, this is good. No, this is good. This is top secret stuff. I feel like you may be the only person even using this as a scouting tool. But either way, I think that we need to find a way to trademark this podcast so that when people start using this, we're like, we were the OGs.
Yeah,
on this.
just here's the disclaimer right now. Other podcasters who are listening, we know who you are. And whenever you feature this like it's your idea, we know and we're going to call you out on it.
That's right.
That's right.
Straight
But
up.
use it because it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Just use it.
we're here to distribute information, right?
Yeah. We're trying to help
Entertain.
people.
And laugh a lot.
And laugh.
Yes.
For sure.
So, I use many tools for scouting, a lot of unconventional stuff. I do a lot of phone calling to like government officials and stuff and trying to pick up on like little low key stuff. I did a little bit of that recently.
Talked to Donald Trump Jr. recently.
Yeah, I did. Donnie, as I like to call him.
Yeah.
But anyways, there is an app that you may have heard of, and I'll give some credit where credit's due. This was introduced to me by another podcast crew, really more than podcast crew, our buddies at Land and Legacy, Matt and Adam, who are all about land management, introduced me to an app called iNaturalist. Okay, iNaturalist, I would highly suggest you download because you can take a picture of any flora or fauna out there, and it'll give you a really good estimation as to what species or what the name is of that thing that you're looking at. So people take pictures of bugs a lot and different types of grass and trees. I use it a lot for trees because I'm really interested in like the smaller shrubby trees and stuff that grow in the understory because that's what deer eat a lot of times. So I use it a lot for that. I'm taking pictures of stuff all the time with it. Well, what's really neat is the way this app works is that you take a picture of something and then you publish it for other people to look at, and then it uses that as a database for other people's comparisons and whatnot. And then there's also like universities use this thing a lot. They put these images into databases so that like students can go and look at. I guess this is what they do. They go and look and study and see what these different types of things look like in the wild. Well, you publish that and it shows up on a map. Now you can make it to where it's kind of general and broad as to where it is, like a 10 square mile area, or you can make it like on the dot, which either way is pretty cool. What you can do as a consumer or as a civilian, whatever you want to call it, is get on that app, use the search function, and search the word deer, and it gives you a bunch of options. You can look at whitetail, mule deer, blacktail, elk, moose, wapiti. Click on wapiti and not elk because elk is actually a moose on here. It gets kind of confusing, but
because it's an international app. I guess. Yeah.
I guess so. That's what I stands for, maybe, or internet. I don't know, but. So what does the I in iPhone stand for?
Yours.
my phone, iPhone?
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, instead of that, click on the family cervidae, which is deer, or cervidae, however you want to say it, and then a little blue dot, a little blue icon will appear everywhere someone has taken a picture of a deer and posted it on the app. So then, if you're planning an out-of-state trip or an interstate trip that is intra-state trip, that is like at a new WMA you've never been to or whatever, you can go and at least see the caliber and maybe a population density of what type of critters are running around out there. It's so handy for these out-of-state planning trips. So handy, dude. It's bad to the bone.
I mean, every little bit of information, man.
Yeah.
When you go.
And, yeah, I'll put that disclaimer out there, like, you're going to look on that thing and be like, well, there's like 3 deer dots in this whole state. Well, yeah, that's fine, but like at least you can kind of see what's going on over there, and a lot of times
Or you
for
can,
us,
I mean, if it's a pretty accurate dot, then you could be like, well, that's pretty close to public track there, right?
Yeah, you do that. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, there's one of the states we were looking at. There's some dots on the public of stuff that we would shoot right there. So it's
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It is pretty slick.
Man.
So I'll actually probably show you some of that stuff here in a little bit when we get off the podcast.
I'm looking
We will
forward to
not
it.
link to that in the description below. You really need to go do it for yourself.
Yeah. So there was a question I had, and now I'm blanking on it, about the app, and I can't remember what it was, but it was something in regards to the dots. Oh, have you published one?
I have.
You have? So
I
do you
have.
have to turn your location services on for that?
Probably, but you can do it just like while it's using
Man,
the
I'm
app or
so
whatever.
scared to do that.
Are you?
Yeah. Because, like, if you haven't turned them off, this is another tip for you if you're not in the know on this. But if you haven't turned, like, certain location services off, you send pictures to guys. Hunting, I killed this deer on public, but you won't know where. Well, if it's not turned off on your phone, you are sending the location that you took that picture.
You want to know something that you can do to, like, always circumvent that? Take the picture, screenshot the picture, delete the original, and then you've got that. Well, don't do it in the same place because it's going to have the same
Yeah.
principle. But, like, when you're at home, screenshot that picture, and that be the one that you send out to people.
Then everybody starts hunting at your house.
That's all right. Good luck.
Yeah, especially around here.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. That's
Yeah.
good information. Well,
And in fact, you can even use it for longbeards too. So
to video? I mean,
what?
dude, I'm sorry, I'm out of it. To just take pictures of their beards and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to see what kind of longbeard they are.
Because, like, for us, where turkeys actually exist is a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
So I've used it quite a bit for that. And there's some surprising sightings, but you got to also take that with a grain of salt. Like, sometimes people might be like, "Look, turkeys," and they take a picture, and it's kind of like an anomaly. And just because there's pictures of turkeys there doesn't mean there's a heavily populated or huntable population there. So take that with a grain of salt. But our bros here that we're about to talk to, I don't think they really have to do that. They seem to have
They're connected.
They seem to be in the know. Like they went to a state that we're going to talk about where there wasn't a whole lot of turkeys and smoked 2 on the first morning.
Yeah. They are some turkey masters. They are video masters. We were talking about this before we got on. Like the productions that they do, man, are awesome. And one thing that I'm guilty of lately, because I've been just so hard at it working, that this virus stuff has made it hard on churches, and you and I have talked a lot about this recently, but everything's kind of having to go digital, and our churches are trying to decide what's biblical and everything as far as putting out digital media and worship and everything else. Well, that's kind of beside the point, but regardless, you and I have gotten almost busier because of this, because of all the like video stuff we're having to help produce for the churches and everything like that we're doing. So it's been crazy, man.
What's funny is that we're both in the same position pretty much. We have different roles within our congregations, but we're still in this position. And the position is that at church, if you're a churchgoer, you kind of know what we're talking about here. There's the old folks, and there's the youth, and then there's the very few in between, like us. I don't know what it is about our age demographic that
there ain't many 20 and 30s.
Hey, we need more y'all there. Come on, go with us, okay? Please. So we're like the connection between those two things, like the people who know how to like do digital stuff, but actually are like, I guess, sort of mature enough to help with stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, we get real busy in times like this.
And so, but the point I'm getting to is that because I'm so busy, I haven't taken like a lot of me time or whatever you want to call it lately. And me time used to
self-care.
be watching.
People call it nowadays. Self-care.
Used to be watching a lot of films because I just like. I mean, it's cool to watch vlogs and stuff, and we do a lot of vlogs, mostly vlogs, because it's easier when you're busy and that kind of thing, which we are during hunting season. But anyway, the higher production value stuff that I love, that's what I actually love doing. It's just you can't make a living off it very often, So anyway, I love watching that stuff too, especially if it's well done. And it's gotten to the point where you can see, I can see as a filmmaker, like some of these guys that are doing it are still very novice, I guess would be the best way to put it, at what they're doing. And so, but everybody kind of thinks they can do high production value because they have a slow motion,
expensive camera, no experience.
Yeah. And so the thing is, what I'm getting to is that Steven is not that guy.
No.
He is a straight up expert, man. He's a pro at getting just beautiful shots. He's got great gear, obviously, and guys that around him that know what they're doing, which helps, man, because you can't.
I think that he'd make a good director.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's kind of what he does.
Yeah, like I think there's other guys that are doing some shooting and stuff, and he's like telling them what shots to get and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he does a lot of that, directing and storyboarding, I guess, and stuff. So pretty cool. But we'll get into it with them and talk a little bit about all of that from their perspective, and then we'll catch you guys on the other side.
From you, well, I see that smile.
Okay, today on the show we have got Keith Ott and Steven Spurlock of Chasing 49. Fellers, what is happening?
A lot, buddy. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. We've been dodging raindrops all day here in East Texas, but, it's just part of the seasons this year. Everything's greening up, and, the redbuds have done their thing, and that means kind of one thing in the world of the South is that once the redbuds start blooming, you know that turkey season's coming up quick, right?
That's it. Yes, sir.
Yep. So, have y'all been out doing a little hunting here lately?
We just got back, Casey. We started in Hawaii. I think I flew out February 27th. And we've, that was the first season to come in the U.S. is Hawaii. So we started there. I was there for quite a while. Keith came in for about a week. I was there for almost a month, just shooting and doing filmmaking stuff. And then, from there, we started in the Southeast, Alabama and Georgia this week, and then we're going to head to South Carolina in the morning. So,
man, y'all are getting after it. So, for the audience member who might not know, what is Chasing 49, and what's the principle behind that phrase there?
Yeah, so Chasing 49 is obviously the pursuit of the U.S. Super Slam, which is hunting and harvesting a turkey in all 49 states that have a huntable turkey population. Alaska being the outlier there. Alaska does not have a huntable turkey population.
Yeah, when are they going to do something about that? I mean, come on.
I got to tell you, I've been to a couple states where the turkey numbers were pretty low, and I think the tags were representative of that. And there's one state in particular where I can tell you I was shooting a turkey, and I was like, I just have a lot of conflicting emotions about shooting a turkey. And it was legitimate. Like, there's turkeys there, but being there hunting it, it crossed my mind. And I would tell you that even if Alaska opened up a hunting season, I'd hate to say I wouldn't go because there's smarter people than I that would have said that there's enough of them there to be hunted. But I'm sure if I was one of the frontiers to make it there, I would probably feel like, this just feels a little bit dirty,
Yeah, for sure. And so this is your pursuit. This is your personal passion.
Just, for right now. I think the brand of Chasing 49, it's certainly not focused around me. It's more about, the U.S. Super Slam in and of itself and kind of what that encompasses. And I think we've tried to grow the brand as well and really make it known. It's not just about today. Obviously, like as conservationists and stewards of the bird, we need to be conscious of harvest. We need to be conscious of habitat. We need to be conscious of how, as hunters, we're making sure that there's not just turkeys for us to hunt in 49 states today, but for the next generation, for my nephew, and for the kids that are coming up. It's important that people realize that this is a resource, and if we're not conscious of it and conscious of the fact that there are some states that have had some bad hatches and habitat and predation and things of that capacity have influenced their numbers, that if we're not doing things on our end to make sure that every time we're shooting a turkey, we're giving a turkey an opportunity to live as well. If we're not doing our part, then I think that's going to be a big issue down the road. And so I think we're using the brand not only to spread the awareness of what the slam is, what that encompasses, and how much fun that can be, because that experience is certainly one that I'm fond of. But also making sure that that resource is available for others who want to have that opportunity as they develop as turkey hunters and look to expand their turkey hunting opportunities across the country.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Alaska doesn't have any crazy enough residents to just import some turkeys, but apparently Hawaii does, huh? What's the story there? Like, how did turkeys get there, and what took you out there, man, and what was the plan?
So that was, the story of the wild turkey in Hawaii it's an interesting story. And more or less, most groups have colonized the islands since I think the first turkeys probably were believed to have arrived around 1780.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, everybody brought various turkeys at various times to the island. They were domesticated, obviously, but I think population probably started a little bit there. In the 60s, they brought a whole bunch of Rios from your all's home state, Texas, to Hawaii, and they released 600.
We love invasive species, by the way, here in Texas.
Yeah, they're not non-native, but they've done quite well. I think they introduced them on 4 of the islands. They've done quite well on 2. So, and just it's amazing. It's a different country. Very few predators, no ground predators, some nest predation, but nothing else walking around the ground that eats. So it's a different, and when we saw some things behavioral, wise that, would indicate they're not quite as cautious as the turkeys we have here in the Southeast.
Sure. So you just roosting them and stuff?
What's that?
Are you just roosting them in big, crazy looking Jurassic Park trees and stuff, and then how are you doing this, man?
So strangely enough, if you think of Hawaii, you think of the beach, you think of the ocean. The turkeys there actually live at we hunted turkeys at 8,500 feet elevation.
That's cool.
Wow.
Which at that elevation, the trees were about head high, and we watched gobblers roosted in trees 6 feet off the ground.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, which is strange. You wonder how the limb can hold them up there. But the turkeys on the island they vary in my elevation from sea level. I mean, I found literally on the beach strut marks all the way to 9,000 feet.
Wow,
man, that's a long strut. He went the whole way. No, that's cool though, man. Is there a like any niche that those turkeys are filling of like a native species that used to be there, and they're kind of replacing it, or are they kind of making their own way?
As far as I know, there's a prolific population of a number of game bird species on the island.
Yeah.
That's a lot of upland bird type hunting opportunity on the island. And I'm not sure which of those species were native, to be honest with you, Casey. I don't think any of them were.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, and it's very strange. Throughout my month there, I saw everything from, big groups of turkeys that looked like they were still winter flocked, all the way through poults that were flying poults. So they're getting up there. The hatch date had been back a little bit. So just amazing. But that being said, their growing season's so long. The weather conditions, it's not like they have a substantial winter.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty diverse in that regard, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool, man. So y'all are going out there, and it's not just a hunt. It's a high end production. If you're listening, you ever watch any of the stuff that Chasing 49 puts out, I the one that comes to mind. I've watched a couple of y'all's videos, and they're all cool. But man, the Goulds one from last year, right? That was the most bad to the bone turkey film I've ever seen in my life. So we'll link to that below in the description. But what all goes into, like, why were you there for a month before Keith showed up? And, like, what's that all about?
So I got there. Number one, I wanted an excuse to hang out in Hawaii for a while.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So I looked at it as an opportunity to do that. And I started out the first week of the trip. I was with some really good friends of mine at Nomad Outdoor, working with them on their hunts. And then after that, I had about a week before Keith arrived, and I went out and I shot a lot. I did a lot of photography work, and I did a lot of. I don't think I probably need to shoot any more time lapses for a while.
Yeah,
I think we're pretty maxed out on that. did that sort of stuff, scouted a little bit, and just just enjoyed the free time, and also got to shoot a lot of really neat stuff.
Yeah, y'all. Did you get cheap flights home because of this whole virus deal?
So I think I was supposed to be there for 12 days and ended up being there for about 3.5.
Oh, wow.
And I booked my flight home, I don't know, roughly 36 hours before I got on it, which should have been a significant amount of money to have made that type of flight change. It was free. It was $0. I literally did not pay.
Oh, wow.
And a 36 hour, rebooking, and it didn't cost me $1. So to answer that question, yes. And I actually watched airfare pretty significantly to book that hunt. And I think the cheapest I had gotten it to was, just a little bit shy of $1,000, call it. And the day before I left, or 2 days before I was leaving, I looked at booking the same flight, and that flight was a half. If I had booked it 2 days before.
Oh, man.
Because of the coronavirus,
Yeah. So how does this affect your plans going forward this spring? Are you going to have to miss out on some hunts and stuff?
Yeah, I mean it's I think everybody's watching it pretty closely day by day. Shelter in place and stay at home orders are obviously a significant one. Need to read that language pretty closely, and see just where it goes on interstate travel across these states as well, and what borders are doing. It's definitely becoming increasingly challenging. We're seeing state lands and other hunting opportunity resources. They're simply closing down the hunting there now.
Which is absolutely ridiculous, if I do say so myself. Let's take the most, secluded pastime or passion that someone can have and then do away with it. That way they have to go and spend more time with more people. We haven't ran into that in Texas as much, but there's some big stretches of beaches in Texas, not just like a party beach, but miles and miles of stuff. And they're closing down these beaches so people can't go out there and fish and, and be super secluded. And it just doesn't make a lick of sense to me. So that was just anecdotal. You got that one for free.
Yeah,
sorry.
I think being hyper conscious right now is probably good, because I think that the biggest concern obviously is the occupancy at the hospitals.
Yeah.
And the further the virus spreads, the more limited the hospital availability can be for folks. So I think that's a big concern. And so I certainly appreciate the fact that states are putting certain parameters on it. I think that closing down some of the public lands is a little bit challenging to accept, especially in some of these states where you've already got tags that you've paid for and such.
Yeah, I bet.
I personally have a state that I'm planning to go to, and I actually put in for 2 areas in the state on 2 different types of tags, and that was by happenstance, because I planned that back in October when I had to put in. And I drew 2 tags in this state for 2 different types of land. And it's just, in my mind, it's just the Lord's will that I did that, because my first tag has now been closed. And so we are pivoting now, we were essentially supposed to get on the road here in a week and head out to start to hunt that tag in roughly 11 days or so. And so that's been canceled. And so now I'm pivoting and trying to get off with work, and going to have to push those dates out so I can hunt that ladder tag that I had gotten just as a backup. And I've talked a lot about this with people about slam, kind of chasing the slam. You always have to have backup plans for your backup plan. And in this case, I can only actually have 2, but it's kind of like, I said that a lot, and it's a testament to it, because ultimately, if I didn't have that second tag, I mean, that's one of the states I haven't shot turkey in. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I mean, personally, I don't know how long these states are going to let you run through their borders. I really don't. And because of that, we're trying to hunt as much as we can right now, because I don't know that May I don't know that May is going to give us the same opportunities that today has.
Yeah.
And so while we have them, I think that everybody, if you have the opportunity, should utilize it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, there seems to be a sense of urgency of what you got going on, and whenever you have 49 states to cross off, I'm sure you have to kind of always be scheming and trying to make it happen. But are you trying to wrap it up this year? Is that why it's such like an essential thing? Are you going to get your 49th state, and that's why it's such a worrisome thing?
Yeah, I mean, if it's the Lord's will, I've got 2 states left now.
Yeah.
And I guess when I kind of started this thing off, I had said to myself, like, I'd like to do this in 5 years. And I think that was for a lot of different reasons when I said it, but I think it makes sense when you start to just think through like how a person's life can change at our age over the course of 5 years. Like, you could lose a job or get a new job, and you might maybe you have financial resources today, but you don't have time off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know how those ebbs and flows are going to work, or maybe you meet someone and you get married and then you have kids, and then all of a sudden, you've got a newborn when turkey season's here. Well, you just can't really go chase it.
That's me.
Yeah, and so I just think that, I think when I started, I was like, well, I need to be conscious of how life could change, and if I'm going to try to maybe really do this, I think I should really try to do it. And so this would be my 5th year, and I've just, it's not that I have to finish in 5 years. It's just that I kind of planned because of my life and what, the availability to hunt and, just time off and the means to be able to. So
Yeah.
That's kind of how that came together.
How does that affect the production side of things, Stephen? Just being in kind of a hurriesome kind of manner, I guess.
Well, so we do a general rule on our new states, slam states, footage, no footage, or shooting a turkey. With that's just the way we've done it. And, Keith and I, we've talked about it, and I think we've had maybe 2 states we're having the camera there. I asked them not to shoot a turkey that was available to be shot. And that's just part of it. But in a lot of states, and especially when we get on tough hunts, we try not to inhibit Keith's ability to move through states. Although just inherently, you have more people in the woods. Just there's inherent problems with having a turkey at all times. And and really the only reason it worked is Keith and I. We grew up together. We hunted together. We were 12 years old. We can get angry at each other, and we go through trials and tribulations, but we can go through all that, and at the end of the day, we're still in it together.
Yeah.
And that's the key. You guys know that with the film and stuff, sometimes it just doesn't always work out great. And the neat thing about turkeys is, in comparison with deer, is there's generally another turkey. If we mess up on one, which we do, we have another thing we can hopefully make up for it on the production side. We try really hard to keep the production from affecting the pace we want to work at. And that, running on 0 sleep and driving across the country, there's times it's tough for sure, but we, and then on a lot of these projects, I'm always there, and a lot of times we have a second shooter there as well. So at least one of us who's running a camera is staying a little fresh or trying to stay a little fresh. It takes a big group effort. It takes everybody being committed to it, and it definitely adds an element to the whole thing that's been a lot of fun. We've learned a lot along the way. For sure.
Yeah, we're all about that element, man. You got to have that in there.
We look at some of these states. Some of these states we go to, we definitely just know that there's lower turkey densities, right?
Yeah.
And so on some of these states that we go to where we feel like turkey density is a little higher, you're on the roost, you're hearing multiple turkeys. And that's the expectation, because that where you went there knowing that was a state with good turkey numbers. That's where we really try to key in and make sure that those hunts really count.
Yeah.
And fortunately, like Steven said, I think only like 2 times has he ever literally told me, no, don't shoot that turkey. Which I obviously appreciate. But we have been fortunate where we've found ways to make up for that. But quite frankly, I'll be the first one to say, like, if you're watching one of our films because you want to see turkeys' heads get rolled, like I don't know that you're watching it for the same reason that we're making it, because, like, yes, you're going to harvest turkeys. Like, when you're chasing the slam, you're going to these states and the goal is to shoot turkeys. Like, that's true. But if you just want to go see a bunch of turkeys get shot, like, I would say just, and you just want to see like a glory reel of that, it's probably something you're going to go Google on YouTube. But if you really want to understand the experience and what goes into the slam and why this thing's so special, and maybe to inspire you to feel like that's something that I think I would enjoy. And that makes me want to, maybe, and it doesn't have to be good hunting 49 states, but it makes you think, like, I would really like the opportunity to go hunt abroad in another state, and I would like to see what that's like and feel that type of passion. That's what we're going for.
That's cool.
So that's why I think that it's fine for the theme and what we have produced. And I think that's what we want to show as well. It's to us, it's not about just shooting a bunch of turkeys. And just making a glory reel of that.
Yeah, sure. And man, that's like, this is kind of the first time you and I have got to talk. And your passion for this just like shows through just tremendously, and not that Steven isn't passionate about it too, but I can tell it's just, this is something you eat and breathe. Where did that come from? Like, when did this start, or did it kind of develop over the past 5 years?
I mean, I've always really enjoyed turkey hunting. My brother definitely taught me how to turkey hunt. I went with my dad. I didn't start hunting until I was like 14. I don't think I even shot my first turkey until I was like 16 years old or so. And but I don't know. I just learned to love the gobble. I learned to embrace the fact that you could immediately execute a strategy on them. I've become increasingly fond of that because, unlike deer, I mean, I know you guys are big deer hunters, and I certainly share that as well. That's a prolonged strategy, and a lot of factors and variables have to come together over a timeline, I would say, in most cases, right? And with turkeys, you can process that information in real time, and you can start to execute a strategy, immediately based on the information you have at hand, and just being able to kind of execute on that. And to be able to go to different areas and see different parts of the country and meet new people and find that, Tom Kelly wrote about the 10th Legion, and it's amazing the amount of relevance and honesty that holds, because it is a brotherhood, and you'll find that as you start to travel and you meet these random hunters on public land, and it's just this whole process that you really love. It's the strangers that you don't know that become best friends. It's the fact that you're going to experience something that you're never going to forget, and you don't know what that's going to be, but I have learned you're going to find all along the way. It's just become a lifestyle that captivates you, and you build a group of friends that surround you with the same passion, and it's just something special that you're always going to have as you go forward. I just don't know that there's a lot of other forms of hunting that share that type of shared collaborative passion and sincere joyfulness when you can assist or help other people be successful around. And I think that's what makes turkey hunting special.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, man, that's just so well said, Steven. How do you capture that in film? What he just said. What is your plan when you go into a film like that?
Generally speaking, we shoot so dang much, Tyler, that for each one of these films, like our film series that we did last year, we're doing 2 films this year. To produce 2 10-minute films, we probably shot 35 days, somewhere in there, 30 days. And with that, number one, it's on the pre-production side, going in with a plan. There's going to be a lot of cool things that happen along the way that we need to document. But having a general plan of these are going to be, this is the important, this is the storyline, and these are the themes we're going to stick to, and just really focusing on, the emotions you experience along the way, the ups, the downs. And then, when you find those things that are defining of the season, it's shooting them thoroughly. When we're on a hunt that's frustrating, like I got to be up in Keith's Grill getting the raw emotion of frustration, right?
Yeah.
It's, showing that versus so much telling the viewer about it, showing it is really important. And that's, all this came about on the filmmaking side. We did one film in 2017 where we went with Keith and another good friend of ours, Ryan, and we went to Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. And just going through that one swing with these guys, the addicting factor that is there, dude, you start, you just can't stop.
Yeah.
Like when Keith does a lot of states without me. And dude, when he's there, it kills me not being there with him. It just, we're all vested at this point into it. And, as far as on the filmmaking side, it's just rolling with the punches and, seeing, and a lot of it, man, it's amazing. Every year we go into a season and we lay out a general schedule and we kind of have like, oh, these states are probably going to be the high points. Well, until you go and experience it, you really don't know. Like last year, Louisiana, I was excited about it. Wasn't, I thought it would be all right. Probably one of the most incredible turkey hunting experiences we've had,
That's cool.
And that's, you never really know, going into it, you never really know what state's going to give you what. And it's, just being there and being part of it, man. Once we started, it's been impossible to stop.
Sure. Yeah.
I was in this. I went on a random hunt in Florida like last weekend or something. It was public land and there was a big camp, and I was talking to some guys and they kind of heard of chasing 49, and they were like, they asked the question. They posed the question of, well, let's just say due to complications of the virus, your season really gets in a tough spot, and let's just say the camera crew couldn't be there, or would you go finish without them? And I was like, well, there's no way they would not figure out ways to make it. I was like, but to a degree, like, and I mean this. I mean, I would have a hard time saying, like, I wouldn't want to be presented with the reality of that question, because I almost feel like they deserve to be there as much as anything, because of when you think of the number of miles and hours of sleep that they have lost. I mean, like, they deserve to have that moment too, and it would be selfish to have them miss out on that. And honestly, I want to share it with Steven, and we also work with this guy Ty. I want to share it with them, because when I look back on the last swings, the smiles and the camaraderie and the high fives, and like I do a lot of stupid stuff. Like, I love turkey hunting, but I'm this is one, it's my vacation. Two, I love turkey hunting, but I do dumb stuff, and I enjoy sharing I enjoy being dumb with these guys. and having them there to be just as excited and share that. I mean, that has been really special. How many people get to share that? And it's just been an unbelievable experience, and it's been multiplied through having them with me and being able to share that high with some guys that want it just as bad as you do. Because they do. They want it just as bad as I do.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience, before Tyler and I started hunting together, I was pretty much a loner when it came to hunting. Like, I did stuff with my dad and granddad, but it was always, split up, meet back up at night and talk about what you did or whatever. And it's just a whole new level of stuff when you start, experiencing, pulling the trigger with someone else there, because it's such a passionate and, I don't know, surreal moment, almost spiritual in a sense, that when you start sharing that with somebody else, man, it's a special thing. It's a new bond that, I never really knew much about, and it sounds like y'all are right in there with it. Did you have to develop the love for visual storytelling and cinematography, as this thing developed, or did you kind of want to do that from the get-go, Keith?
No, I had no desire to ever be a part of any of that at all. Period. I couldn't have cared any less. I was doing it before there was a camera crew, and I'll be doing it long after. I do think, I think it's cool that I've been able to be a part of telling the story. I appreciate that these guys have told the story in the way that I think it needs to be told, in terms of what a slam is.
Yeah.
How you chase a slam. How my slam is not someone else's. And for the people who have done it before me, my predecessors, my slam is not theirs. I will never replicate theirs. But hunting changes, right? I think we all know that, and there's just a purity that has always been a part of the slam and the way that people have done that in the past. And I think that I like to think that I've maintained that, and I like to think that Ryan maintains that absolutely as well. He was on one of the first films, and I think that Steven and those guys have been able to capture that purity and capture the approach. And I think that that's going to be the fact that they were able to tell that story the way that I think my predecessors had done it, and did it in a way that is honorably, I think is the best way to have introduced the slam and told people what it is and showed them. And so I appreciate the opportunity that I got to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you mentioned earlier kind of how, a turkey plan can come together and be executed very quickly, and there's a difference between it and kind of the way you would hunt a deer a lot of times. Another thing that is hard for me to understand a little bit, and I've turkey hunted and shot a few turkeys here and there, mostly, here regionally, pretty local, but, you kind of, you shoot a turkey, and there's good ones that have, 9 or 10 inch beards and inch and a quarter spurs or whatever, and you're like, that's a pretty good bird, and they kind of look the same sometimes, you know what I mean? At least for me, hunting Rios is what I've hunted, and so what has been the most special hunt on this Chasing 49 experience that you've had, and the most memorable turkey, and why is that? And then maybe talk a little bit about differentiating between every turkey just being the same for some people that view it that way, and how they're different, I guess.
In terms of the most memorable, I would say New Mexico, just because New Mexico was a repeat state for me. And Ryan and I hunted there back in 2017, and we hunted for 5 days and failed miserably. And then when I was able to go back there and be successful this year, it presented the same hardships it had when I was there 2 years prior. And that certainly was immediately recognizable, and quite frankly, you're going up against the beast, right? So you got to give it your all, and that you're going to have to give it your best. And the last time you came here with your best, it wasn't good enough. And, you acknowledge that, right? And so when I was able to finally kill that turkey, and New Mexico is tough, at least it was for me. But let me tell you, those are some steep mountains, and you can't really chase Merriam. But you still got to go climbing those mountains to go find the next group. So it's going to wear you out physically, and just depending upon their social dynamics, those hens hear that call, and if they're not in a mood where they're accepting that foreign hen, they're going to leave you, and those gobblers are going to leave you. And unlike in Eastern, they don't go 400 yards. They go 1.5 miles over 2 summits. They're 1,200 feet in elevation. And let me tell you something. That's just going to wear you out when they finally slow down, and you're still hell bent on trying to get around and make another play on them because those are the only turkeys we know of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when I shot that turkey, it was a pretty unbelievable moment. I mean, I felt a lot of emotion hunting before, and that one was like it was just really overwhelming. In terms of like all turkeys being the same, like I mean, I just don't feel that way about them. I think that, you know, every time you interact with a turkey, you know, he's going to tell you a little bit about himself, his personality. And I mean, you know, if your metric for deer is, you know, well, they've got antlers, you know, then every deer's the same, right? Because every deer's got antlers. So if you look at a turkey and all you think is, and I'm not saying this about you, I'm just saying in general, if anybody thinks like, well, he's got a beard and some spurs and a full fan, like I just shot another turkey, well, then I don't necessarily know that perhaps you're going about hunting turkeys for the same reason that I am. And maybe I don't know that that I'm going to influence your opinion that much, but because at that point, it might not just be that something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Right.
So
to me, hunting a turkey, like they're all different. They're all going to tell you something a little differently that's going to make you execute your strategy different. And when you shoot one, you respect that bird for what he was, because he gave it all. And at the end of the day, you took his life.
Yeah, man, that's deep stuff. So to kind of go in the same vein, without getting like so passionate that we blow the speakers, how do you feel when people say that turkey hunting and elk hunting is about the same thing?
I'm not an elk hunter, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, Steven's done it both, I guess. So, I mean, what do you think, man?
You know, and I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Right. It's a common parallels, and there are parallels between the two things. There's an element of interaction, which I think is probably where people, draw the similarity. And to me, elk and turkeys, while there are some similarities, there's just beautiful, wonderful things about both that are, make them both incredibly enjoyable to hunt. I came into this project, I grew up turkey hunting. I haven't harvested a turkey in many, many years, probably over a decade. And I got involved with it. Well, I did shoot one last year. One.
We got him on.
I got
him on the board.
I was like, we got one.
But that's, the parallels. Elk are just, they're going to wear you out physically so unbelievably. And turkeys, in rough country, turkeys are much the same, but it's a different experience.
Yeah.
And with turkeys, there's a lot more interaction. And what's so neat about turkeys, in a 7-day trip, heck, I think in 7 days last year, we went to 6 states. There's that high level of, you can just cover so much, so regionally you can cover so much country. And each bird we encounter, I'll be honest with you, Tyler, to your question there about all turkeys being the same, I think that was an opinion that I probably had before I started this. And at this point, you pick up on all these little intricacies that every bird we encounter has. We hunted a bird in Alabama last week that just was a tough turkey. He sat in the same spot all day. And, and we didn't get him killed. And something about that bird was very interesting and made him interesting to hunt. Sometimes they run right in. Not all the time, not very often in our experience, honestly. But every single, is what his mood is that particular day, what the weather's doing, what phase of the breeding cycle they're in. There's so many factors that play into how they interact with them. And for me, being a bystander, I get to see guys like Keith and some of the other guys we work with who understand those intricacies on a level that I never would. Mm-hmm. And watching them at their craft it's incredible. Whether they're calling or just knowing when to set up and where to send up. It's how these guys take that little bit of information that turkey's giving them and decipher that. It makes it. So I mean, it's really intricate when you get into it, and watching these guys go through it pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
And with elk, I look at elk as more of you don't get as many interactions.
Yeah.
And when you don't get as many interactions, and it's a brute force of will. Like I know you guys did your hunting the Gila last year. Like that's just waking up every day and saying I'm gonna go and go and go and go, and it's just a different level of experience, different type of experience. But like I said, I do understand the parallels.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the New Mexico hunt. You mentioned that you're hunting turkeys at 8,500 feet in Hawaii, I believe. Has this whole slam been done on public land?
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. And quite frankly, I would argue that anyone who tells you that they're trying to shoot a public land slam, I'm going to tell you that they're too young in their slam to actually understand what goes into a slam and some of the regulations across these states to actually understand the fact that you literally can't shoot a pure public land slam.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some people saying some of that crazy stuff, and I'm like, well, I appreciate that you. I don't actually appreciate. Now, I take that back. I don't even appreciate it. Like, if I'm being pure honest with it, I don't even appreciate they say that. I just think that's a degree of arrogance that is like a holier than thou attitude. That's like, I'm a tough guy. Because let me tell you something, buddy. When you're driving between your public land spots after a noon cutoff and you see a field full of strutters or hear a turkey gobbling on the neighbor, and tomorrow's your last day, and the only thing that separates you from hunting that land, which is public, and the private and the public, is a door knock, let me tell you, you're knocking on the door.
Heck yeah, dude. We're all
been
about
hunting
it.
that public and haven't heard one, you're knocking on the door.
Dude, guarantee
so anybody
you.
who says that, let me tell you something. Go travel a little more. I appreciate that you said that now. Whatever.
Yeah.
You're not doing it.
So, okay.
Maybe someone who does this over a significantly extended period of time might be able to achieve it. But
Yeah. So so what's the key, man? What's the key to getting permission?
I mean, when you're on the road, you just do whatever you do. You just go up there and give it your best go.
You don't have a line, man? You got to have a line or something, don't you?
What I've found has been interesting in this experience is you tell landowners our story.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Why we're there. And it's amazing the number of people that engage in that. When we say, hey, this is the 40th state we've been to in 4 years, and that people engage in that for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
You got to make sure and take your dip out before you go, or they like that a little bit.
It depends on the region. That's a regional difference.
Nuances, huh?
It's I mean, honestly, there's the public land resources is really good. But yeah, I mean, there's just going to be a time you're going to knock on our door.
Yeah. So when do you decide, man? When are you like, man, I need to hunt some private when I go to this state because it's going to be tough?
When it's Texas, right? That's when you decide that.
Well, Texas being Texas, like I think everybody decides it when it's Texas, and we've got an infinite amount of time to hunt the 1% of Texas that's actually public.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to chalk that one up to what it is.
I think last year they surveyed and there's actually 4 gobblers on public this year, so like at least one guy will get to shoot one in Texas. That'll be good.
Yeah. But I mean, look, so when I go to states, I do all my research. I make all my phone calls. I mean, I will never turn my nose up to any hunting opportunity that has turkeys that I'm like. I mean, obviously, like I'm not going to go hunt Theodore, right? Like I'm not doing that. But if I'm making phone calls and some guy and I'm asking a guy about public land and he happens to say, well, I got a track. If you want to jump on it for a morning, you can give it a go before you go to your public or whatever. Like, I'll absolutely do that. I mean, that doesn't bother me. And, like, I don't know, probably 3 out of every 4 or 5 states I shot a turkey in last year was on public land. Probably 3 out of 4, and for the ones that were private, I was super grateful for. I was sincerely appreciative that those people gave me the opportunity to meet up with them and hunt with them. I have hunted with some buddies on the way. Like, I'm hunting turkeys for my pure enjoyment. I'm hunting my land my way, and that's just the way I go about it. And I'm not going to say no to private if that opportunity presents itself. I think if I'm doing this over 20 years, maybe ask me that question and I'd have a different answer.
Yeah. So you've been doing this is your 5th year. What states did you leave to the end here?
I'm sorry, say that again?
So what states did you leave to the end here? What's your last couple states you got to get done?
Well, I think when you start off doing, or when I started off doing it at least, like I always wanted to try to cluster these states together so you could move efficiently, right? In terms of logistics. And people when you talk to people about this slam, they'll be like, well, this is the state I want to finish. And I think it was my 3rd year. I said to somebody, I was like, well, you can look at that map of the United States and you can just, cross off the ones that you killed in and throw a dart. Wherever that dart hits, that could be the state you finish. Because that you just don't know when it comes to repeats and logistics. And so coming into this year, I expected to come into this season having, a pile of states and like last year, we really did. I even said it, we walked with the Lord and it was an unbelievable year. And I ended up coming into this year with 3 states, which was Hawaii, Arizona, and North Dakota. And quite frankly, other than Hawaii, I would say North Dakota and Arizona, it's just by happenstance that they're left out there for no other good reason. There's no way to plan to the finish. You're just going to come in wherever you come in, and you're going to pick up the pieces where you've left off in the past.
Yeah. So, are you going to have 49 full body mounts or fans, or what are you doing there?
I actually do a fan. I do fans for every single turkey that I shoot. I've mounted a couple along the way, and I've got those. There's been some special ones that came from this that I don't think I'll ever be able to beat. And so I've got those mounted. But other than those ones, I take every single tail fan home, no matter if I've driven or flown. And I dry them out, and I use manila file holders, if you're familiar with those, because it's just a little bit of an elevated pitch and holds 10 file holders. You can shove 10 fans in there, and you can have a really nice way of displaying 10 fans, and it doesn't look like 10 giant fans. It looks, it's very condensed.
That's cool.
And then if you just take a shed antler and you use the main beam of the shed antler to cover the meat part of that perfect fan, nobody can see that. Nobody can see the meat or the quills of the feather of the feathers where they come together, and it's a real nice presentation.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's neat, man. I've never heard of that. That's cool. What about the beards? What are you doing with those?
Beards and spurs, I don't have a good method for those. I know a lot of people have their own way. I've never once seen a way that I thought that's the one that I think is mine.
Yeah.
And so they're all together. I zip tie every one of them together with the license, and every one of them fits together of all of them with the state.
Yeah. It's cool. You know what you should do is go in the paintbrush business whenever you get done with this.
I'm telling you.
You don't have to come laying around.
I'm telling you.
So,
Yeah.
I know y'all thought this out, and I don't know. I'm going to guess. I'm going to say if you're anything like me and Tyler, like you've got some celebration plans for when everything comes together. And it might be, bad juju to talk about it. I don't know. But do you have a plan for what's going to happen whenever the culmination happens?
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit, Casey, and honestly, if we're brutally honest about it, deep down, we don't want to finish.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard day for us because it's been such a big part of our lives. And I think, knock on wood, good Lord willing, that day comes. I think we're probably going to load up in the truck. We'll take a minute like we do with all of them, and we're going to go to the next state.
Yeah.
Again.
Man.
And, I don't think if we dwell on it too long, it'll be too dang fast.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, ours usually involves tacos of some sort, so I can suggest that and make it happier. That's a good way to take the edge off of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
don't be old Miller Lite.
Yeah.
So is there anything, when that happens, is there anything else? Is there another challenge that you're looking at or something?
I don't know what the next U.S. Slam is, but I know I'm going to find something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that kind of gets at some of the messaging that we really want to get at with the film series. I love when we get messages from folks that are, we're going for it. We're trying to do the U.S. Slam. That's awesome. Inspiring people to do that. It's cool. They're traveling to new states. They're buying hunting licenses in new states. They're supporting conservation. That's fantastic. But, if we inspire somebody to go hunt their neighboring state, that's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's kind of, as far as whether it's a U.S. Slam or whether it's killing a turkey in your neighboring state, we're going to find a new challenge. I don't know what that's going to be. Find a new something to keep that fire burning, just because that's our nature.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that is at this point. I have no idea. We've talked about it. We've talked about it for a year now. We don't know.
Yeah. Have y'all wanted to go do the oscillated down south?
I don't know. They don't gobble. They do. It's called a whistle. I don't know if I'd qualify it as one. I'm not really sure. I've done a lot of research on Mexico. I've done a lot of research on Canada. There's states and provinces out there with turkeys across the national borders.
Do you think the coronavirus is bad? You go down to Mexico and see who you can mess with down there.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to see. I mean, I'll tell you right now. I mean, the thrill behind turkey hunting is one, the traveling and getting to see cultures that you would have no business being part of, right? And embracing the fact that you are a foreigner, you're an outsider, you might never be here again. Take something away from this experience. I think that's cool. And I think Mexico and Canada could have some cool ones on some dirt that I've definitely never been to. And I think that I don't think I'd say an oscillated's out of the question because it is still a turkey. And I definitely still want to see where turkeys live.
Yeah. Well, former guest on the podcast got oscillateds and ocelots mixed up, so don't mix that up because you get in big trouble for doing that. Y'all are smarter than that, I know.
That's cool.
Yeah, so y'all put out some high-end, high-production stuff, man, and I really, really appreciate it. We live in the world of the vlog nowadays. The vlog is king, right? It's just run and gun, go crazy, and we're guilty of it, too, to tell you the truth. We do a lot of that because it's easy. But I really appreciate how much artistry and how much time y'all put into stuff. So if somebody's listening and they want to check out what Chasing 49 is and look at all y'all's stuff that you put out so far and the upcoming stuff, where should we send them?
Our Chasing 49 Instagram account, we've got all of our turkey content posted on there. And that's where the platform we interact on the most.
Yeah.
I don't know what your all's experience platform was, but for us, we just like Instagram.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's a little cleaner, yeah. But that's the quickest way to find our content. Casey, we've released one turkey film so far this spring. We've got a 2-part series called Haunted. Haunted Part 1 launched about 2 weeks ago, and Haunted Part 2 will be coming out probably next week. And then we've got a film about a guy who we're really excited about this film. He's a gentleman who's been pursuing the U.S. land continually for 30 years
Wow.
while living out of a minivan and hunting all public land.
Wow.
And he's a guy out of Indiana named Doc Weddle. And we had to, spend a lot of time with him last spring, intermixed with our travels with Keith as well. And his story, he's written some books about it. What's the name of Doc's book?
Tails and turkey tail across the country.
And it's just a big collection of his stories from, he's completed, I don't even like to say how many U.S. lands he's completed several U.S. lands.
Yeah.
And he's continuing to complete U.S. lands.
Yeah.
And so we have a film about him coming out, which we're really excited about, just because, part of what inspired, our generation of turkey hunters to go do it is this guy.
Yeah.
And he's a humble carpenter from Indiana who literally has not done this for 30 years just because he loves turkeys.
That's cool, man.
And so that's a film we're really excited about that we got coming up. And other than that, we've got our full spring film. Hopefully a full spring of filming coming up. We'll see how things go with all the world these days, but that's what's on our plate and what's on our agenda. But to catch up on all of our stuff, it's all on our Instagram page.
Cool. Yeah, we'll definitely link to that below. And guys, it's been cool hanging out with you. Stephen, we've met a couple times, and you've been on the show before. And Keith, it's been good getting to know you, man. And you're my kind of guy, dude. Like, your passion is so cool. Like, it is just. And what's neat is, like, I don't share it in the same way for turkey hunting because I didn't get to grow up doing it. But last year, I kind of really had a revelatory turkey hunt that kind of changed me a lot, and it's kind of neat to see, like, how you can hone that blade, through the years and see it done well. So that's cool, man. I really appreciate and respect what you have to say about the birds.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, dudes. All right, well, to close us out, what is the best turkey recipe you've ever eaten?
Ooh. Oh, man.
Stumped him. Oh, man.
We eat a lot of turkey.
Yeah,
so.
So, like, I'll tell you what, like, in closing, one funny story. This little wise guy, camera guy that works for Steven, I like him a lot. I hope he listens. His name's Ty. Ty. So we shoot this turkey in Louisiana. We go to Arkansas. We got a roost. We got the day before season comes in. I'm cooking dinner. We eat turkey on the road, okay? Like, we have some food, but we eat turkey on the road as we go.
Yeah.
I cook up a turkey dinner, and we only cook one breast because this is the first day of the hunt, right? Like, we've only shot one turkey. We had one day of hunting, and that was good. Well, he was like, I'm still hungry. And I looked at him, I was like, well, we ain't shooting any more turkeys right now, so you better get over it. Like, you little wise ass. Like, I'm like, who is this kid? Like, but anyways, but to that end, like, we just eat a pile of turkeys.
Yeah.
In a pile of different ways. We do turkeys on the road, turkey fajitas, fried turkeys, marinated turkeys. I mean, turkey breakfast sandwiches, like, with eggs on them. I mean, there's almost no way that you can't cook a turkey that we haven't eaten it on the road or at home. And I got to tell you, like, I don't really truly know that I have a preferred one way is the best or the other. I am stumped. You got me, man.
No, it's all right. I like your answer.
Do you ever grind it?
Yeah. I've had it ground, and it tastes great. I mean, obviously, like, depending upon how you season it, but, like, I mean, that's the beauty of it. Like, turkey has wild turkey has a wonderful, innate flavor to it, and you just add a certain little bit of compliment to it. It really brings it all out in a different way. I mean, that's why, like, I love wild turkey. The legs are the one thing I'll tell you. A good way to do those legs, grind them down, put them in a crock pot for a while, season them up, and then do turkey tacos with that. It's like a substitute ground beef. Most people waste the legs. use your legs like that every time. It's delicious. Put a little taco seasoning in there.
All right.
We like tacos. That sounds good to me.
Yeah. Oh, I know you're from Texas, old boy.
That's right, man. That's right. I need a tortilla and some ground meat and some jalapeno, and we're happy. So, yeah. Fellas, again, it's been good hanging out. Good luck the rest of the season, man. I hope that things don't slow you down too much with the situation we're facing here, but y'all going to make the best of it either way, I can tell. And I appreciate your positive attitude about everything and your passion for stuff. So, thank you, guys.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate y'all letting us have some time to talk to you.
No problem. Man, to be a couple old southern country boys, them dudes can put out some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate, the passion they have for, getting after those birds and going all doing. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
But last year, I kind of learned a little bit about that. Like it was kind of my first real turkey hunt where I got to at least shoot birds and not just walk around in the woods and crow call a lot. But we made a pretty good film of it, kind of the high production value thing, kind of like what they do.
Real quick, can you do a crow call for me? You might move the mic away a little bit. I just want to hear it.
Does it sound good?
It's okay. It's okay.
It used to be better.
It wouldn't fool me in the woods.
Yeah.
But I think your voice is just getting too deep,
Maybe. I don't know
Just
what it is.
you're just a king. You know what I mean?
I used to could do a pretty good rooster.
Yeah.
I can do a good peacock right now, which will come into play next week.
Dude. Yeah. It will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can do.
We're doing it next week. We're doing the peacock call.
Yeah. Oh,
live.
for sure. I mean, you and I are some master mouth yelpers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Should we?
I was cutting, wasn't it? Not cutting
I think
right
it's
there?
close. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Cutting road. So, anyways, last year we made a pretty epic film, honestly. Like, it shot a bunch of slow-mo stuff, like real slow-mo, not regular film that you just slow down.
Right.
Yeah, but real slow-mo. We did that, smoked some gobs, had a ton of fun, caught some fish.
Yeah.
And that's called Hooked. We'll link to that in the description below.
Ate ceviche.
If you haven't seen it yet, you're going to like it. I promise. Even if you're not a hunter, you'll like that film because it's just fun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like one of those things. Well, everything we do, pretty much, I'm proud to be a part of. Outside of I don't know, not everything we do, I guess. Even the stuff that goes bad, I'm still proud to be a part of it. But anyways, the Hooked film, man, that is just pretty sweet.
Dude, we did work hard on that film, and I don't know, it didn't get a whole lot of people view it, or anything, but I don't know, there's a million different reasons why that could have happened, because it's, out there in the digital world, which is just cram-packed
it's
of
not on the
everything.
tour, man. That's the problem.
Yeah, I guess that's it, man. Yeah. But we are very proud of it, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's worth watching, I think, if you do like turkey hunting especially. So check it out. We'll link it in the show notes. It's called Hooked. It's just a story about Casey's kind of first real kind of spring hunt, I guess.
Tyler hunts in there, too.
I do.
But it was kind of centered around me just because I'd never really got to shoot any turkeys much except for kind
Rifle
of
style.
surprise stuff, We'd ride around the four-wheeler with a shotgun, and when we saw turkeys, you'd shoot them.
Yeah.
But that's...
With crossbows?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not with crossbows.
Slingshots. You
that
were
would
a
be
pretty
cool.
good slingshotter back in the day.
I
weren't
was,
you?
man. When I was a senior in high school, I committed myself to the slingshot for a while and got to where
Was that an academic UIL event? Or?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I was in that weird time where, right after football, you don't really have, you have a lot more free time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd go home and, walk around in the yard and just shoot stuff constantly. Kind of like what guys do with trad bows,
Yeah.
stump shoot, kind of the same thing.
I'm the worst slingshotter there's probably ever been.
I feel like that's strange because you also say you're not a very good trad bow shooter, and I feel like you have pretty good eye-hand coordination. Why can you...
it's supposed to be instinctual.
Yeah.
There's a lot of instinct in shooting a shotgun. That's something flying
And you can hit
past
stuff
you.
with that.
I was just being flat honest, I can shoot a dang shotgun pretty well, I don't know why I can't shoot a recurve and I can't shoot a slingshot.
I don't know, man. That's weird.
Yeah, I never really had a slingshot. It's probably one reason. I just never was able to
I think
go
I've
around
got one in my
plinking.
truck if you want to go get it out and mess with it.
I might do it. I got rocks right here beside me.
Perfect. There's some Chi-Chi birds out here that better be getting out of here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to go try this slingshot. You guys can go check out Hooked on YouTube or any of our other stuff. And, we don't have a whole lot coming up. We're releasing some of the 5 Live stuff that you guys probably know about if you're a podcast listener at this
Hopefully
point.
there'll be a turkey hunt in the next couple weeks come out.
Yeah, hopefully. We've caught a few fish on GoPro, possibly.
Yep.
So maybe we just throw some of those on there just so you can see us being goofy and catching fish. But I don't know if that's going to make anything or not. But it's definitely fun to watch when we go back at it.
We're putting a lot of effort in the Map Scout Challenge stuff, or we had been in the past few weeks, which isn't going to actually release till summer.
Yeah.
So
nor is it going to pay off at all.
But anyways, it's going to be pretty fun and pretty cool when that does air. So y'all just look forward for a couple months here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess that's about the end of what I wanted to talk about.
Good.
I know there was something else that I'm going to be mad that I forgot to talk about.
It's all right. We do these every week. You can tell us next time.
That's true. Sometimes, actually. Sometimes we do 2 a week. Sometimes we do none a week.
That's right.
So.
That's right. We are getting back on the 1 a week schedule right now.
We're trying. We're trying. It's
do the best.
It's been crazy. Been, lots of babies being born and all kinds of stuff. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else?
That's it.
All right. Well, guys, remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.